So, like this. In this way, we have created a shape that still incorporates also the other art organizations still sitting in the public, but so we can see each other, and I think it's more lovely than... every country was represented by 3 community art commissioners, but like the special thing about working was also, communities and inviting people who work in different professions to participate in art project means that actually they can't always come and show up because life happens. You still have work, you have kids, you have different kind of traumas, and this is what happened to our Latvian art commissioners in Kuldīga. Like they are both going through hard journeys, so we have only one. Vendija will speak for the 3 commissioners from Kuldīga this time, and I will try to remember the answers also from the process that they were doing the input. They were good at speaking on radio, but it was like physically not always possible to be everywhere. So thanks for Hungary and Poland to survive. There's still Hubert missing from Poland. And but this is also the good thing that there were 3 members from each country. So in this case, people can represent each other, even if not everyone can always show up in time. And one more time, thank you, Daniel, for the very structured presentation. And also through the project, you've always been the one on time and with the schedule, which also gave us more freedom as the organizations. And I hope that also the art commissioners felt that way, that there's a structure, but so you can feel stable and independent at the same time. I don't know. But you can also object. The mic will now travel to each of you, and I would be happy if you just would say your name and introduce what you do on a daily basis, and maybe also answer the question, what's your relationship to art? What it has been until you applied to this project? Maybe what was your previous relationship with art or contemporary art?
Hi everyone, my name is Arleta, I'm from Poland, Wrocław. In life, I'm a photographer and I work in the theater, so I really connected with art. That's a thing which I make in my free time. So yes, I really connected with this.
Hi, my name is Gosia. I'm a vocalist, jazz vocalist, and I'm a music teacher. And I'm working with newborns and infants and very, very small children. And I'm also work with adults in choirs. Thank you.
So hi, I'm Vendija. I'm from here. I used to paint and do all kinds of art stuff when I was a child. Then I changed my fields and worked in a bank when this project started. But I quit that part because I cannot be tamed to one place. So right now I work with people, I work in a hotel. And this was an amazing project. And to actually talk to people around me and to create something that will last for a while at least.
Hello, my name is Jurģis. I'm an actor and stage director.
Hello, my name is Dorottya. And the question was my relationship to contemporary art. Okay, so I would say that I'm very much connected to art because I come from a family of artists, and growing up I practiced music and dance, but then later on my kind of professional life took me in a different direction. I started to study social sciences and started to work in the NGO sector. But then when this project happened, I started to slowly direct myself back to the cultural field, and now I work for 2 arts organizations. So I think this project had a huge impact on my professional life as well, and kind of like figuring out what I really want to do. So it was a great experience. Yep.
So hello everybody, my name is Dominika. My background was like not connected to art, like I came from a sport field. I was an athlete for 10 years, then I was like a coach, and now I'm working in an anti-doping field. But I felt like for a long time that it doesn't fulfill myself like truly. And this is why I like see this like open call for like being an art commissioner. I was like, oh, like, yeah, I'm interested. So I applied, and I'm now in this like end game of the project. So I'm like super proud of the project and everybody who I get the chance to meet here. So I'm really thankful, and yes.
Hi, my name is Juda. I'm an economist. I studied international development and city planning, as well as urban design. So when I started this project, I was working for the British Embassy as corporate services manager. Yeah, I know. But so my sister, she's an actress, and so I spent a lot of time in theater when I was like in my teenage years, and so I was very fascinated by that, the world of art, and because of the urban design and the community development aspect of where my interests lie in, it was like connected to this project as like with the community development aspect, and also I studied international relations, and this is also there is a political I think a statement here, an underlying statement which is very interesting to me. So yeah, this is how I relate to the project, and that's where I come from. Thanks.
And Daniel, yeah, you heard
You know me.
Daniel a lot.
Daniel, okay.
That's Daniel. Yeah, so I would still maybe present the 3 more people who are not here, because we have 2 more people from Kuldīga. There is Ieva Štro, who is a wedding designer, and also Elina Beitika, who is a mother of young children and also has her private business in tourism. And by saying this, sometimes when we describe this project, we say that these are art commissioners from communities, that people who maybe are underrepresented sometimes, but like sometimes we really like to label communities, saying that, and we imagine certain kind of people who represent communities, and these are sometimes like people with, I don't know, socially difficult backgrounds. That it's the first image that sometimes comes to mind, but at the same time, as you see here, young people representing communities can come from diverse professions and diverse relationship to art, and this art relationship to art and your profession is sometimes also very blurry. It's like, how can we say that someone is doing arts or is not doing arts? Like basically our cultural life is pretty much interconnected in whatever profession we're working in or where we are as young people, and you never know how your career can change from sports to maybe also next year you make a new NGO that creates rebel projects in arts. So 2 years ago, the 3 art organizations in Poland, Hungary and Latvia, we sent out the open calls that we are looking for community art commissioners. It was even a difficult term to translate because it's not the commissioner, pasūtītājs in Latvian. It's not the word that we're using often. How did you see this advertisement? What did you think when you saw it? Why? What made you motivated to respond, or what was the first reactions? I would really like to know how it was in all the 3 different countries. The first encounter was this text. We're looking for young community art commissioners. Who can answer?
It was actually an interesting advertisement because it was not quite clear what they were looking for. They were like people who like art, young people who would like to participate in a project internationally. And to be fair, at first I read the advertisement and I was like, okay, I can save this post, for later, see what it says, make my own research. But then this post appeared to me more and more times. and I was advised by people around me to actually apply, and never regretted the choice. So yes, maybe somebody else. How did you find out?
I think I saw the call probably on Instagram either by Bethlehem Theatre or Pro Progressiona, I don't know. And I remember that I had to read it quite a few times because the first half I understood, like what they were looking for, people who live here, people who have some relation to art or they are interested in it. But the part about the commissioning and this, like the translation of it to Hungarian and how this would work was not easy to understand at first glance, so I had to go through it a bit. But the concept was very fascinating to me, and it was very, like, not a question that I would apply for this. Yes, so that was my experience with the call.
For me, it's a little bit of fun to be in this project, and I didn't have a hope to being here. Yes, I think, okay, I'm an artist, and why not? But it's not my dream, because I don't have a dream about art commissioners. You know, I don't know what is it. Yeah, but I'm very happy to be here with you.
And maybe you can also represent your third colleague from Poland, Hubert. Maybe you know, can say some words for him. Maybe you know why he applied and who is he, because I didn't present him, and someone who is missing.
Hubert is connected with theater. He is director in theater. Yes, he is dramaturg. He make a lot of performance, so he is connected with art too. And I think that also Gosia and me and Hubert make this very spontaneous. We just looking on Instagram and saw this post about this open call for the commissioners, and all of us think it's good idea, it's good project, good experience, something new in our lives. So we just try, and here we are.
Yeah, because in a way it happens that especially the group from Poland, you already had some quite strong connection to some artistic expression, but which I also want to say that as organizations, we are learning, we are going through the process. So Daniel, it's your second round, and for us as arts organizations, it's our actually first round to try to invite communities to become art commissioners. So basically this is still a learning step, and this is why we work on methodology. We have done a process and there are artworks commissioned, but it has been a learning process for all of us, also for the artists, and so, therefore we feel super thankful for the artists who applied and who were patient for waiting for the results, reading the criteria that are not maybe typical criteria that appeared on the open calls. And we are super thankful, for you art commissioners who basically came into an adventure, into some learning process to learn together with arts organizations, with experts still researching the field, with communities still trying to understand what a community is, because a community is a difficult term. Maybe Daniel, you can tell us what the community is.
Thank you, because I think it's really interesting the fact that, like our art commissioners are saying that they didn't know very much what they were doing when applying, or that they didn't understand, the call, which of course, things can always be improved in terms of language. But I think one of the reasons why is that, like somehow this is like a new concept, like a new place, like a new space. And when you are trying to explain something that, is not known widely, it is very hard, for everyone to understand. And I think that's, not, again, it's well, maybe it's part of our fault, but it's not our fault, not your fault, is, is the system somehow that we live in that associate, for example, in this case, decision-making processes to specific people, to specific groups. Because, we could have said, we're looking for people trying to, or that want to decide the art that is created in your community. Okay, that is so much more clear. But maybe you would have not applied because somehow, and that's something that happened to us in New York, because maybe you feel like, what am I going to do there? Like, do I really have the right to decide something and to, and to be part of this group, which is something that is not only connected to, this project in specific, but to arts organizations in general. The fact that museums are free, are open to the public, or that have discounts or even free for young people, students, or a lot of different communities, doesn't mean that they are full, of children and young people that go there, or even common people that without the specific age. This kind of challenge, or I'm talking about museums, but also theaters and galleries and all kinds of cultural organizations, that somehow obstacle of reaching to certain communities, of engaging with certain communities, is something that happens in a lot of arts expressions and organizations, and it's a challenge that organizations have, engaging communities and bringing them in, because the fact that things, that doors are open doesn't mean that everyone feel invited to cross them, right? The fact that this was something that was somehow targeting you doesn't mean that you actually understand it or get that position, or to get that at that point. And coming back to your question about communities, and I think this is a conversation that we have been having during this trip. In this case, we have communities that are somehow neighborhood located, right, or geographically located. In this case, we have the 7th district in Budapest. We have also Kuldiga here in Latvia, and we also have Brochów, right, in Poland. So, but of course, it's within those communities, as Sandra was saying, there are more communities in terms of age, gender, interests, background, location, and communities are also groups of people that shared, practices, tastes, likes, dislikes, identities, and that might be located in a specific place, but that might be, located in different places, and that are connected, through gender identity, or sexual orientation, the LGBT community, or profession, right? I don't know, you were talking about fishermen the other day, the fishermen community. Okay, so, and they are associated, and they somehow have also unions and groups where they gather around. So I think the goal here is to keep working with communities, both at a geographical level, because materially they might have challenges that have to do with the space they share, but also from a more transversal point of view, trying to connect people that might not live together, but that share, a profession, values, ideas, or that might not share them, but that they, somehow need to live together in some way.
Yes, but let's ask the community representatives themselves. Okay, in this project, these are more or less, the geographical communities. Could you describe your community, the community you are representing, what it is? Because most of us haven't been in the area.
Yes, I think this is quite a difficult question to answer, because that's exactly what I think, that there isn't really a community to this 7th district. It's a very central area of the city, but it's been gentrified, and there are a lot of Airbnb places. It's very densely populated. There on one side, there are these kind of luxury apartment areas already towards the more central part, but on the outskirts, you are getting murdered at the night, and it's so it's pretty diverse, and to me, I wanted to add this to the previous section, but now I can do it still because it's still kind of relevant. That you know how I became interested in this. Of course, like we all hate ads, you know, on YouTube, on Instagram, but like this is like an instance when the AI algorithm like like so good, like showing us this ad, because I was it called out to me so much, like personally, this ad, that I'm like thanking the algorithm for it forever, because otherwise I would never come across with this opportunity. But it targeted me so well, because so I wrote an article about this area of the city, and it got an award from the Hungarian Chamber of Architects, and so and in that article I was being very upset about the local council's development plan, because in this development plan they actually wrote about this area where I live, that, oh yeah, there are so many problems and disenfranchised people living there, and it's like, we have to stop the ghettoization of this area. And they actually wrote this out in the urban development plan, like this actual word, that in the 21st century in Budapest, that it's a ghetto-ish area. And I'm like, you know, if you say something is like something, it's going to become like that. And so it's just like, it's such an unprofessional approach, I think, like when it comes to urban development, to like spell it out like that. Like it's totally.
And was it to all the area, all the
No,
big
actually,
district?
it was just specifically more like those couple of streets and quarter in which I live, of course. But you know, so the community, it's very mixed, and I don't think there is a great identity like compared to. To Kuldiga, even, I think, because it's a smaller place, you know, people know each other, or the Brahu area of also I felt like maybe there is more closer knit community present there. But in this 7th district, you know, people come and go, very different lifestyles, very different segments of the society mingle.
Maybe I should have asked, actually, there's a way around for others to describe the community. I don't know. But yeah, like I still ask the question, maybe Kuldiga can tell a little bit about themselves, how you think what are the characteristics of the community, but also from your travels to, and Jurģis can jump in because you're also from Kuldiga. But you also can, those who have been to the 7th district, what's your opinion? Do you see it as a unified community or not? You can say your opinions also about other communities as well. But yeah, Kuldiga, who are you?
Okay, the way how I describe communities is that communities are like molecules of the society. And these molecules can be really different. They can be based on some social aspects like age or other things, or they can be based on geography. And when I started this project, we were thinking, okay, let's make a community of Kuldiga. And then we start to think, damn, that's mission impossible. Because in Kuldiga society, the citizens are so different that there are a lot of more communities making in it. And the hardest part was to differentiate them and somehow to connect them. But the good part was actually commissioner's task to give us the rules, which were your topics about the joyful. So that was the reason why we were making a lot of different joys, because people have different meanings what the joy means.
We will approach the theme and also the criteria of open call later, but just maybe you have something else to comment of what the community of Kuldiga is, or do you see, how do you identify or describe in a few words?
Okay, as Jurģis said, the community is very diverse. It differentiates in age and occupations. And when we were the commissioners, we were sitting down, we were trying to figure out what would be the common theme for us to actually call the artists to create something for Riga itself. And that's how the joyfulness came up. And yes, we have noticed that people are quite serious in Riga. We have the UNESCO and everything. Everything is so commercial nowadays. So we wanted to bring back that little spark back to our community and to actually see people enjoy their city.
Okay. And do you have some opinion about the district in Budapest? Do you feel it as a...
I didn't see
Bracho?
quite much there.
because you were learning all the time.
We were learning. We were spending time in the theater.
3 days.
Yes, a lot of days. Lost count after the first 2. So yes, but...
But Bracho?
Bracho was a different story. I felt like I went to a place where people are connected somehow, although they're living apart and not really interested in each other's personal spaces. But when the project was happening in the Survival Festival, we saw that people actually cared and they wanted to see something happen in their community and to bring it closer together to each other.
Well, I think for me the impression of Bracho's festival was that for the first time I saw people in suburbs queuing to see contemporary art. Long lines standing in front of a villa or this project place just to attend the thing, and it was super impressive. How would you describe your community?
I'm living in Brochów. Brochów is a part of Wrocław now, but before it was a German town. Now in Brochów we have a very big Roma society. The Roma society, I think, it is so close to other people, to other neighbors, but yeah, and when you have a lot of money, you don't live in Brochów, I think. But it's not a poor neighborhood, but
Affordable.
maybe, yeah, and maybe Arleta, you wanted to add something?
Brochów is like a little village which is connected with the city, and it's not that far from the center of Wrocław, but you have to go make a trip to go there, yeah. And there's a lot of people who is mixed, and there is a lot of Ukrainian too, and old people who live there. They're from the youngers, and yes, family with children, and that's really a little bit crazy place, a little bit maybe sad and forget, but by the people who live in Wrocław. But we know that there is a lot of secrets and things we have to cover, yeah, maybe, yeah,
Yes,
to know.
Earlier, I think 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, Brochów, it was dangerous district, I think. Now it's like a normal place to live. For me, I love it, but yes, but it was a bit dangerous earlier.
Well, it didn't feel dangerous at all.
Okay.
Was Riga dangerous 20 years ago?
Oh, definitely. still is.
All the crocodiles.
But I just wanted to add, for example, why I admire the commissioner's work and why it was so hard, because if we are taking a look at the mentality of the kuldīdznieki, or citizen of Kuldīga, it's not very welcoming and easygoing mentality. Totally not. Because, for example, we have an expression in Kuldīga that you can't become kuldīdznieks, but you can only born as a kuldīdznieks. So that means that at the beginning there is like a priori the wall and the ice with the people. And I know it because I am kuldīdznieks. And that means that you have to somehow to achieve to get to the heart of the citizens.
Yeah, because if you're only a half, you're not a kuldīdznieks. Yeah, yeah.
Same as the French, you know.
Okay, yeah. But your first task in this project was to develop an open call. So to decide, well, basically the bigger task was to commission an artwork for the community. Understand who you are, the three members, what values do you represent, and maybe what larger group you represent, because of course you don't represent all Kuldīga or all 7th district, but already you are three people who want to have some kind of artsy thingy, and there are some expectations. And so you had a short training in Budapest, like about how to make an open call, but you were also left with some freedom to decide yourselves. You don't have to follow the official rules how other organizations would have done, like, yeah, we expect this years of experience, the CV with such experience, and then we expect such and such artist who works in this field. You still could decide the criteria yourselves for what are you looking for. Do you remember what was important for you to be mentioned in the first open call when you were working on it?
For us, the most important was that the project will be connected with the people who lives in Brochów. We want to make something for people, with people, and you know, yes, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we want that the arts go to people, not people go to the art, like museum, theater, etc. Yeah, and exactly, I think we've done it, because the mural come to people. Yeah.
So our main criteria, as I mentioned before, was to bring some kind of joy to people, and one of the main criteria were that the artist actually spends time and gets to know the local people, or in this case is actually born within the community. And also when we added a little comical aspect to our open call, was astrological compatibility. Yes, that word.
Because yeah, the open calls you prepared, we had to share also in our organization's wider network and on social media, etc. And I was receiving those calls from frustrated artists who said, "But why are you really going to consider the astrological compatibility? Like, is it even a criteria? Can you add it? Like, are you discriminating the rest?" Because I think you wanted to have Aquarius as artist. Are you, Jurģi? Because they selected you. So yeah, so there was not a huge discrimination in the end towards the astrological sign. But yeah, this would be, just to demonstrate, this would be something that we maybe as an arts organization wouldn't put in an open call. But in this case, we are stepping back in our power positions and we are letting the community members to change the rules, even if they are sometimes unusual, because also you wanted to make the duck happy, the duck that is the Mandarin duck swimming in Kuldīgas pond.
So we have a Mandarin duck, which is not very common in Latvia, which is actually never seen before. Yes, maybe. So yes, and it has been a part of our community for a number of years now. It always comes back in the winter, so we wanted to include him as well.
I didn't know that you put the astrological sign as a criteria in the open call. Okay, we had different criterias. For us, it was, I think, firstly important the accessibility question. So, like Gosha said, that the art goes to the person and not vice versa. So basically, we knew that we wanted something in public space. The other thing we knew was to hopefully see an artwork that represents some kind of hidden or untold story that it's not really, in the public eye. And the third thing, and it was quite difficult as well when we did the selection, is that it has really a connection to the 7th district and the local community, because we received so many amazing projects, but many of them were like fantastic, but this could be easily done in district 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter where you put it, it's going to be amazing. So what can it be that really is about district 7? So I think that was the third criterion, and eventually it helped a lot when we made the decision. Yeah.
So did the artist help you to define actually what the 7th district is about?
Sorry?
Did the artist who responded helped you to discover what the 7th district is?
Maybe not in that way, but from the proposals, we knew if a project was really about the 7th district, or it was a project that was artistically amazing or socially engaged, great, but it didn't have that strong connection to the territory. It really came out in the application.
So there was something intuitively understood that it connects or not connects. How many applications did you get in Budapest?
21.
And Kuldīga was 29. Yeah. Yeah, and
Maybe 40. I think 50, 40. Okay. 30. Okay. For us, it was fun also. A lot of fun in this project. We agree with ourselves. Sorry. Yeah, and it's not so bad for us because the final artist was great.
So the task was to, out of 40, to choose 3, or out of 29 or 21, to choose 3 artists. And all the 3 commissioners had to agree on the fact that this is our top 3. And we attended also then the next stage of this process in Brocho, when the 3 artists were invited to pitch their works on the stage. And actually there was a public discussion in the field of the festival where people from community could ask the questions, and you could evaluate together which will be the top one who will actually develop the project. All the 3 artists selected got a small scholarship to make the pitch and to develop idea a bit deeper. And actually this was a really beautiful moment to attend, to sit together and to see actually that the feeling in the community and in the response probably helped you to choose out of 3 artists the one. In Kuldīga it was a bit different. You didn't have this kind of public discussion, but you still had to check in with the community and feel the temperature to decide what would be the reactions. Can you just comment a little bit how was the choice of top 3 and number 1 sitting next to you?
I cannot say anything bad about him. He's right here. So no, but I would never. I'm sorry, I would never. But yes, it was quite difficult for us to choose there were so many great projects, 29 of them. It took us, I think, 2 days to actually go through them all, and then 2 more days to gather our thoughts and then come to conclusions about the top 3. But we were not only just discussing this by ourselves, we were talking to people around us, people closest to us, people who live in Kuldīga. And we narrowed down to, actually it was, at first it was top 5. Then we understood that it's not possible to actually have all 5 pitches. So we had to narrow down it further. And it came down to 3 amazing projects, each in a different area. And we had a pitch where all 3, more than 3 artists were there. They were pitching their pitches, and altogether we decided that Jurģis was the best candidate, and we stand by it. But the other projects that were chosen by us were tried to push forward to other projects to actually maybe have them be done somewhere elsewhere, or I don't know. Yes, of course.
Because it was a very, very important process also for us as an arts organization actually to learn. And I think we've never had such a serious discussions during the choice process, because the way how you went through the point system that actually Daniel mentored you how to do it, like you evaluated every criteria that you had and you actually put the points, and it was super democratic choice in the end. But your descriptions were so precise on what is lacking in every proposal that sometimes maybe we cannot be this honest. I don't know, when we are working on other open calls, how you said, they were quite brave, the idea is good, they are representing Kuldīga, but I didn't feel the passion. I didn't feel that they are transparent with us. There was so much intuitive attitudes that you described quite honestly with us, and I think this was where the trust was really built between you as art commissioners and us as organizations, seeing how you perceive it and how you actually care for your community, and you say, this is brilliant, the result would be amazing, but I feel that they don't actually understand Kuldīga, or that they actually have the feeling there. So it was the best part for us maybe as an organization. But please, Budapest, tell us about your open call process and the criteria that were necessary.
I think in Budapest we had an amazing selection methodology. It was led by Marci, who just left for a tiny bit, but it was truly amazing. We had an opportunity giving points to different projects, vote in, vote out. It was a pretty complex methodology for us, but I think in the end we circled it down for 3 projects. And from the 3 project, they had a public pitch in the Bethlehem Theater for us. There was community members who were also in the crowd, and they had a chance to see the pitching. And after it, we also had I think it was an easier conversation between us, and we were really consider these 3 main points. What was Dori mentioned before, that how much it connecting to our district, and what should be the impact of the district, because I think in our head it was really important that can it create bonds, since it's the diverse district, should it be a bridge between generation, between people, and maybe can it be act as a catalyst for conversation? And I think it perhaps did or will do, so hopefully we will see.
Yes, and at this point I would like to add a really nice success story of this selection process. That, as you mentioned, the top 3 candidates who we selected, they have been awarded a little scholarship money. I think it was around 2,000 euros. So, in order for them, so 1,000 euros. So this money was given to them in order to develop a prototype of the proposal, so they can then in the final round come back to us, these 3 top candidates, with their prototype of the project, and then we can select based on that and their pitch the final winner. And so it was a very tight run to them, because 2 of these 3 we really liked, and we were in the limbo who to give the final award to, and then we compromised, we came to a final decision. But a couple of weeks ago, I ran into this girl who did the pitch for the second best project, and she was at the restaurant celebrating the debut show of her movie, which she was able to get financed because we gave her this seed money to develop the prototype, and she was able to get finance from another organization, and she was able to realize her project in the end. So that's just
because it was one of the goals, right? Daniel will also maybe comment on this, to make like a friendly trio of selections so they benefit from this project also.
Yeah, I wanted to comment a few things about this, which I think are important, and I think is so meaningful and illustrative to listen to you. And by listening to you, we realize how evaluation criteria, which is something that we are used to listening when seeing programs that have to do with arts funding, but grading when we have exams is also a type of evaluation criteria. And for example, at the Prado Museum in Spain, in Madrid, we have a great collection of paintings, but the reality is that in comparison to other museums, we have only a few painters and a lot of paintings of those painters, okay? Rubens, Tiziano, Velázquez, okay. Why? Because those collections were created by the kings and queens of Spain, who had their own taste and their own feelings towards certain artists, and decided to commission a lot of pieces by them. So art history and some collections or art commissions have been created based on specific people's feelings and tastes, right? When arts organizations and democratic values come into place, somehow we need, or we have the necessity or the obligation to, put together a set of criteria that somehow is objective, that where feelings and emotions or tastes and dislikes are not, where everything needs to be justified, right? We cannot say in an art application, there's no passion in this artwork, right? Because that's important, because we are spending public money, and we need also to commit to an objectivity in a sense. But the reality is that sometimes that kind of objective take on art leave behind, some of the personal connections that they were feeling towards certain artworks. What you were feeling towards Jurģis and Philip and Metro Ensemble is very similar to what Philip IV was feeling towards Velázquez, in a sense, which is about, I like this artist, I have the funds, I am going to commission an art piece, right? And I think that's really key, because while we still need to commit to the standards of, using public money to fund different kinds of projects and also be objective and responsible, it is also important that those feelings and emotions, which is something that, even though the art world is all about that, we sometimes leave them behind quite many times, are also in the center. And I think this, this conversation that we just have about the evaluation criteria demonstrates that in a very specific and illustrative way.
Yeah, but to be democratic, we have to leave the last 10 minutes to the questions maybe the public has, because the artworks, you can go to Kuldiga and experience one of them, it's still there. You can go to Budapest, still the music walls are working, no? Yes, good. And the mural is there in Brocho, and it's amazing with the big portraits, etc. So to describe them in words, well, just maybe one more response from Jurģis. How did you feel about when you saw the open call, or how you were evaluated? 1 minute about your feelings about this cooperation, and then you please prepare some questions.
Okay, at the beginning, when I saw this application, it was like, again, one of these these kind of European projects
Where you never win.
where you never win. It's what used to do this. And then it was actually this impulse came from one member of the Foundation of Democracy in Kuldīga, who told me, but we are speaking here about communities. That's the same topics we are doing actually. So try it. Okay. Then I read it out, and then the astrology came, and it was again like what is this a scam or something? But then I just decided, okay, let's try it. This is so sketchy. Let's try it. And yeah, and later on, of course, first of all, my interest was in this community thing, and later on, when I get to know these rules more and more, this joyful thing actually was really challenging, because me as an artist. I know my world around me is depressed, it's gray, it's black, and so on. And now I have to think about the joy and about the many kinds of joys that could fit to different communities. And that was challenging, but that was really interesting, and that really grows me up somehow. And the last thing I want to add. Yesterday, with other member of the Foundation of Democracy in Kuldīga, we were talking. Actually, I'm so proud that we are writing somehow history right now. I never use such a strong words, but I'm gonna use them right now because, for example, this kind of project. It's for the first time in Europe. So this methodology, and it was made in a Nordic countries, like west part of the Latvia small town, which probably Southerns doesn't even know exists, and we did it, and that is what I'm really proud about.
Well, yeah, the Kuldīga is cheering, and we're also happy that you will get an award from the region who doesn't like new things coming from outside. So this is wow. Okay, any questions from the audience?
Hi, thank you for your presentations and discussion. I have two questions. One is, can you talk more about the budget, like how you decided on the budget for the art pieces? And the second one is, maybe you can talk about the perception by the communities, actually. Like, what do people thought or still think about the pieces you did?
The budget was not decided by us. The budget was already decided within the whole Creative Europe project plan. The idea was to give 1,000 euros for the prototypes for each artist for developing this model that they could later turn into a bigger piece. And for the final price, it was, I think, 12,000 euros for the artist or the artist group to realize the entire project within, like, I don't know, 5 months or 6 months or something like this. So this was not something that we had say in. What was the other question? Well, in our case, it's a bit difficult because our project was not entirely working by the time when we premiered it. So it's still kind of a work in progress. I think the people who came were hopefully generally happy about what they saw, and the concept was intriguing for everybody. That's the positive part. The negative part is that they developed a very complex project with sensors, with electronics, with many different parts, and sadly by the end this could not come together fully. Not all of it, part of it, yes. So this is still something that we yet to see, I think, how the I don't know how this will go into history. I don't know, yes. But the general community, I think, and the people that were there were interested in it. And yeah.
And question actually from me, do you think it was worth the 12,000?
Sorry? Worse?
Was the work, the value, do you think it was 12,000 value?
I mean, if I think about 12,000 for a group of, I think, 6 people by the end. Their work for half a year. The amount they had to spend on modeling this work, collecting the materials, all of the electronics, developing the electronics, and then changing it, cutting out the board of the actual artwork of it. I think 12,000 was not a lot of money for the entirety of this project.
But maybe also as a, yeah.
Oh yeah, just to add that because they have actually made 7 pieces of the musical instrument, the electronic panels, which are like boxes kind of, and they also made a musical map, which is also another object, which also contains electronics and has it's like a voice library of the neighborhood that you can listen to if you press on the different points of the map. So. Many art objects for this for one project,
and many things to think about after. Well, also right about the choice. How was the Brocho, the perception of the artwork? Because budget was the same.
We had a little problem with with people, with neighborhood, because. Philip, our artist, he painted people who live in the social block, yes, with problems, also with alcohol problems, sometimes with addict, with no work, yeah, and he painted on very big 2 walls, yeah, and we have a problem because new people who lived not so long in Brochów, they wrote to the Art Transport organization a lot of emails that why these people are in these walls, because it's not a representative group, you know, it's like a little I think class problem. Yes, that
Clash of classes,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will discuss it also later in the afternoon when we will speak with the organizations, because like these are experiences that art organizations often deal with, like the clash of interests and the perception also of the artwork. But maybe Kuldīga, was it a success story? The perception?
Yes, so circling back to the questions about budget, as Dori said, budget was already set, and it was actually one of the criteria for us, for the artists, that they know the budget, and their project is within the budget. They cannot exceed it, which we had problems with different projects as well. So, and about how community reacted to the project, to be fair, it was better than we expected. It was quite a turnout for the first premiere in Latvian. There were children that were also in the project. Sorry, I don't know how to speak today. But yes, and people were happy, the joy in their eyes. It was something money can buy.
Yeah, I would like to, maybe if we could turn the photos back, because yeah, I think from Kuldīga project you actually see the joy in the faces that people are there. And I don't know, for us as the arts organization, coming together with professional international curators to the event and seeing how the process is actually being led by the community. It's the sense of humor of Kuldīga, it's the attitudes of Kuldīga that is dominating here for this time of project, and they are cheering. The professionals are a bit confused, but with the time they get more into the game.
And I'm really lucky that I still having some kind of really good feedbacks. Still people are sending me some messages about, yeah, I don't live in Kuldīga, but I just listened in the app these stories. Oh, that was so freaking funny, and so on. And the children are cheering. It's like I'm really happy about the cartoon, but I'm a little bit upset that my character of the cartoon was such a small time in it, and so on. So those really cheerful and happy moments from them, it's something really adorable. So thank you about it.
The snacks are waiting for us, but maybe some more questions. Yeah. There are many. Oh. Can you pass the mic?
Hello, hi. I'm curious to know if you have to do this the second time, what would you do differently? Or is the big thing you would take in the second round? Or what advice would you give to the communities who are just starting to think about doing something like this?
Okay, in Polish group, we are very happy. And on this moment, I don't have any other things to do, to other ways. On this moment, we are so happy. Yeah, and yes, nothing to change.
It's a great question because we came to Latvia also to evaluate the project. Of course, like from the Queen's version to the European versions, some things changed that had to do, for example, that like their time, their art commissioners' time and effort was paid. That didn't happen in Queens. Art commissioners in Queens were not paid, and that wasn't really fair because they were contributing with their time and their knowledge. So something that I think was good about this project is that art commissioners received some money in order for them to stay committed. It can always be more, of course, but that I think like allowed the project to honor also their time and their efforts. And in the future, to give you two very like easy things. One of the challenges that organizations faced was the fact that art pieces, artworks, needed to have, apart from the artist and the art commissioners, a production figure, like a producer, someone in charge of making the art piece possible. Because as we have seen, like art commissioners might have a connection with arts, but they are not, this is not their job. They have their own professional lives, and they might not have the knowledge to produce an artwork, and that's okay, that's part of the game. And art organizations at the same time, they play a different role. So having a figure of a producer that collaborates both with the artist and with the art commissioners in order to make the artwork in itself, the object or the performance into fruition is something that we think like should be in the future, that might improve the process. And also something that was not part of the methodology as such, but that somehow the Polish team incorporated, was finding, even though they represent the communities that they come from, in the Polish case, also they built a partnership with a community organization that was in the neighborhood and that organized activities for the community and that knew the community, in the field. So somehow adding to the whole ecosystem of stakeholders, a community organization that also mediates between the art commissioners, the artists, and the community, that would also like improve the project in a clear manner.
Yeah, I have to run, but I want to admit one more thing. As for an artist's perspective, please be brave and just use this kind of projects. It's really interesting because I was before this project. I was used to, I have my concept and I know what to do, and I strictly say to everybody, no, just only my idea. And this time you have to make these impulses from the community, and yes, maybe you don't know where it's gonna lead, but still, this is going to be a really interesting experience, which might lead to the really something good for the community. So that's a really good opportunity. So use it.
Okay, so a short one, because you just partially answered that talking about Poland. I was wondering what were other mechanisms in the scheme that actually got the community engaged apart from having 3 commissioners, because the commissioners are still individuals, right? So that was my question.
I mean, I can answer this, but I am sure like in each case was different. If I am right, that wasn't part of the methodology as such, but it could be incorporated as one of the things to add. In all cases, if I recall correctly, there were consultations with the community. In some cases, formal consultations, such as, for example, the one that we experienced in Brohov, where people could ask questions to the artist, and where, if I am right, and correct me if I am wrong, you had these conversations. In other cases were more casual, rather than having like a formal shape. And it was the case, if I recall correctly, in Budapest, where also like around the Bedlam Theatre, like people also in the pitches, in that for that final, people could ask questions. As part of the methodology, in some cases, the evaluation criteria was also like the community engagement part, which of course, like coming back to your question, come from individuals as well. But the fact that we somehow feel that having a community organization as part of the methodology might improve the process is because it is going to contribute to gain more input, right, from their communities as well. And I don't know if you want to add something about those conversations that you were having with the community members, or.
Yeah, I would like to say that I think it really depends on the size of city you live in, because, for example, Budapest is 2 million people lives there. It's a capital city, and it's very difficult to engage people. There's so much noise. There's so much going on, and we had some visitors at the public events. We had some local people, but compared to the population, even the district, it was not a lot. But this is something that this is something you have to prepare for next time if you do this kind of stuff, that I think really consider where you live and the kind of saturation of the area. Because from what I saw now, spending a couple of days here, in Kudiga, I really saw community, and I really saw that this kind of projects works beautifully in a smaller place. But I think bigger efforts have to put in a capital city to engage people, because it's also, our district is very diverse, and it's a lot of people who are come and go. People live there or rent there for 2 years and then they move away. So it's not really this sense of true identity, I think, anymore, unfortunately. But this is something that we can work on in the future to bring back this kind of sense of community. Yeah.
But then also when we were kind of struggling with this aspect, so that kind of fighting our personal interests and desires in relation to which art piece to pick, and then questioning ourselves whether, okay, is it good for the community? Are we representing the community? And then actually the advisors were kind of helping us and calming us down by saying that, yeah, but guys, you 3 of you, you live here, so you are already representing the community in a sense. So with that, it was in a way it was already built in that we were already a part of the community, and we represented the community. So it was already kind of a public consultation process in itself, and then on the top of it, we can reach out and do other consultations and ask the opinions of the local inhabitants. But definitely, this is also an aspect that we can improve on, and if I formalize it a little more, I think that might be helpful for sure. Yeah, let's wrap it up. Okay.